All right. It is 7 o'clock. We're back at it at the server room. Gonna give it a minute before we start. It is officially 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. I'm gonna try to keep the live stream super simple. I'm here. I'm gonna try to keep the live stream super simple for you guys, straightforward. Right now it's 7:01, and we're just gonna get right into it. So hopefully you guys are able to hear me. If you have the power to chat with me, shoot me a quick text at the chat section, at the live chat. Say, hey, Bernardo, I hear you. You're good to go. Awesome. Cool. So like I said before, I'm going to try to keep it short and simple for you guys. Less talking, more demonstration. The reason why is because it's late. I'm in New York time right now. I want to go home. I want to go see my son real quick. So let's get into it real quick. All right. So switch it over here. I'm gonna full screen this bad boy for you guys, and today is all about failover clustering within Windows Server 2019 Hyper-V. So basically we are creating a failover cluster for our Hyper-V infrastructure. Now on the last stream that we did together I think last week, right, we took advantage of FreeNAS, which, you know, changing the name to TrueNAS, right, and we created an iSCSI storage device. The reason why I did that was because that iSCSI storage device, I'm actually using it for the failover clustering. This is where I'm going to be storing my virtual machines. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, my environment is super simple. I'm using a Hyper-V manager. I have 2 machines. You can have as many machines as you want, but for this example, I'm only using 2 machines. vhost 01, vhost 02. During the video, during the live stream, I'm going to refer to both of them as 01, 02, okay? Now, these are both the machines, 01 and 02. Both machines are running Windows Server 2019, version 1809, build 17763. I just want to show you guys what I'm running. And both machines are actually joined to my Active Directory, right? 01 and 02, they're part of Active Directory. Okay, so I'm on both machines. Okay, so for failover clustering to work correctly, each machine, let's say if you have 5 machines. For this live stream, I'm only doing 2 just to keep it nice and short. But let's say if you have 5 machines, you have to do each machine the same way. Now, don't get me wrong, you don't have to do it manually, like go to each machine. If you're smart, you're taking advantage of Microsoft Windows Admin Center, WAC. And you could push out all the services and all the features that way. One console, push it out to all the machines, right? On both machines, 01 and 02, I am opening up Server Manager, right? Once Server Manager is up and running, I am going to actually click on Manage, right? Going to add roles. And again, I'm doing it both machines, right? 01, 02 is a mirror. Then I'm from here on our add roles and feature wizard, I'm going to click on next, click next again, next again. I guarantee you a lot of guys, damn, this is how you really do the videos. Yeah, it's next, right? Just a bunch of next. Now the option that I need to do here is Hyper-V, right? You need Hyper-V installed into these machines because when you install or create virtual machines on a Hyper-V, right? And let's say 01 goes down, 02 will take over that virtual machine. That's the whole concept of failover clustering. So I am going to select Hyper-V on both machines. You're going to get this, add all the features, click next, next again. I'm going to, for my virtual switch, for this lab environment, I only have 1 virtual switch, but for best practice, most likely you want to have at least 2, right? You have 1 Ethernet that is your management, and your second Ethernet would be your traffic for your virtual machines. Okay, but for this, I only have 1 NIC, so I'm going to select that, click on next. If you want to do migration within your some migration within your infrastructure, definitely do it. I'm going to click next here. You are able to change the default location, just change it to fit your environment, then click next, and then install. It's going to start installing. Now, I had to do a couple of things for this to work, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I did, plus explain it with a nice little graph of how my lab is set up, because it's really really crazy because I definitely have a true nested virtualization environment, like seriously. So for O1 and O2, for me to successfully install Hyper-V within these two machines, I had to run the following. I had to run set VM processor, and I had to expose the virtualization to both of these machines. You're probably saying to yourself, why, Bernardo? And the reason why is because of this. This is how my setup is, okay? I have Azure, right? I have Azure. Azure right now, I created a virtual machine. That virtual machine, I call the Hyper, whatever name you want. This machine right here has Windows Server 2019. I installed Hyper-V Manager on this box. Within this box, I created two virtual machines. For my example, is O1 and O2, right? O1 and O2. And O1 and O2, I want to install Hyper-V, right, inside these two machines. Now, to do that, I actually have to use these two commands to expose the processor to those virtual machines. So I could take advantage and install Hyper-V correctly, right? It's trippy, right? Then, once I expose that CPU, once I expose this CPU, right, into these two virtual machines, that allows me to actually install Hyper-V on O1 and O2, and then I'm able to create virtual machines, other instances inside these two machines. Trippy, right? But that's my setup, okay? That's the reason why I had to actually run these two commands here, okay? Awesome, cool. All right. So once everything is done, installation is completed, you're going to reboot your machine. It's going to start processing itself. It's going to say working on updates, you know, whatever percentage, don't turn off the machine. And then eventually you're going to get here. You're going to do a Control-Alt-Delete, log in into your machine, and then bam. Now, here I'm going to click Start. And the reason why I'm clicking Start and going inside Windows Administrative Tools and I'm going to click on Hyper-V Manager is because I want to make sure they're running. I don't want to receive any error. It kind of sucks. You install the Hyper-V Manager and all of a sudden when you open it up, you're getting all kinds of MMC error. It can't load up, right? Or plugin is not loading. That's sucky. So make sure your Hyper-V Manager, is up and running with no error. Okay, boom. Now, next thing that we need to do is click on Start. We're going to open up Server Manager because we need to install another feature, not a role, a feature within both machines, both within O1 and O2. So once Server Manager is up and running, again, you're going to click on Manage. And on Manage, you're going to go Add Roles and Features. And the same process. Click Next, Next, Next again. And we're not going to install a role. We're going to install Hyper-V. So you're probably saying to yourself, Bernard, so why didn't you do it in the very beginning? This is true, but I like to break everything down for you guys to show you what I have done, little by little, step by step, all right? And we're going to click Next because I don't need to add any server roles. We definitely need to add a feature. And the feature that we need to install be what? Come on, guys, all together. Failover Clustering. So we're going to click on Failover Clustering. And when we pick Failover Clustering, so if you guys didn't see it, we're actually picking this guy right here. This is the guy that we're picking. Boom, right? So when you pick that guy, it's going to give you this nice little dialog box because we need to install the cluster management tools as well as the Windows PowerShell module. Ooh, love PowerShell. So we definitely click on Add Features. Click on Next here. You're going to install. Once you install, it's going to want you to reboot the machine. So close everything up. Close this dialog box. Close the Server Manager. Click on your Start menu. Click on the power button. Click on Restart. And again, the same process. Don't get me wrong, you are able to install Hyper-V as well as Failover Clustering at the same time, but I like to break everything down for you guys, right? Just if I have any problems, this is how I fixed it, and this is how I did it, okay? So once everything is done, it reboots, log back into your machine. Once you log back into your machine, click on Start, open up your Windows Administrative Tools, which I did right here. Open up Windows Administrative Tools. And what we need to do is locate your Failover Cluster Manager. Now, when you open this guy up, it does not matter which one you do, O1 and O2, okay? I'm gonna configure everything on O1 because in reality, O1 would be the first one. That would be your primary, right? And O2 would be your secondary if you do O3, third, fourth, fifth, etc., etc. So I'm going to actually configure everything on O1. So I'm going to load up the Failover Cluster Manager O1. I'm not going to touch O2. Okay, as long as O2 has Hyper-V Manager as well as the Failover Cluster Manager installed into it, technically you're done with that machine. Your primary machine that's going to be hosting or housing or whatever you want to say it, your virtual machines, that's the one that you need to configure your failover cluster. So you could close this up, and what we are going to do is we are going to right click on Failover Cluster Manager, right? And we are going to pick on Validate Configuration, and you're going to get the nice little wizard, which is this guy right here. All right, you're going to click on Next here, and we're going to click on Browse. And within Browse, make sure that it says your Active Directory, because I'm going to type in O1 and O2, and I'm going to check the name. Now, if everything is working within your environment, you're part of Active Directory, your machine should lowercase become uppercase and underline. That means that you found them within Active Directory and you're good to go. So you're going to click OK. Once you click OK, you're going to see verifying server settings. And eventually, once that disappears, you're going to see both selected servers here with a full qualified domain name. Click on Next there. Boom. Now, this is really up to you. You could do recommended, run all the tests. I just wanted to, for this example, I wanted to show you guys run only tests I selected. And then click on Next. I just want to show you what actually is being run. I think the only thing I did not do was the storage space direct. But once you click on Next, it's going to run its reports, its process, and click on Next. It's going to start running it. Boom, boom, boom. Actually, on the next page, this is a nice little confirmation of what what's going to happen. And then once you click Next, then it's going to start running and validating all the stuff on those two machines to make sure they're kosher, right, to be used within your cluster. So once everything is completed, you're going to get this. I had a couple of warnings, which is okay. You're still able to go in and continue configuring. You are able to click on View Reports. Now, if I click on View Reports, it's going to take you to here, and then just go over it. And I caught a couple of network warnings, and the reason why I caught a network warning is because it was a DNS problem within my side. All right, for you probably don't get any warnings at all. You might get all success, right? Cool. Now, next thing that we need to do from here within our console, right? We're gonna go back here and we're gonna right click on that guy. So we have validated our configuration. Everything was good. Everything was kosher, success, awesome. Next thing we need to do is create our cluster. So click on this little guy right here. Click on Create Cluster. You're gonna go. You're gonna get the Create Cluster wizard. Take your time, read this. Click on Next, and the same approach, the same thing that we did with validating. Right? We need to hit Browse. Make sure that it's pointing to your Active Directory. You're gonna type in the two virtual machines. For me, it was O1, O2. I'm gonna check names. It's gonna, capitalize both servers with the underline. That means it's there within Active Directory. Awesome. Click OK. It's gonna start verifying the server settings. Once it's done, boom. You get both machines again with full qualified domain names. Excellent. Click on Next. Now, this is the fun part. This is where you get creative. I think this is always the hardest part for us admins. Naming stuff. It takes me forever to name stuff because you want it to make sense, right? So I kept it, or I named it as vhost cluster. That's pretty simple, right? Once you give your cluster a name, you also want to provide an IP address. Now, the way that I pick my IP address would be the following, is that my O1 is actually .50, O2 is .51, and I say, hey, let's keep it, let's keep it sequential, right? Nice in order, 52. So 50, 51, 52. If I have more machines, it would be O1, 50, O2, 51, 52, 53, 54, whatever, etc. And whatever the next number would be my cluster. So that's the way that I did my IP addresses. So once you do that, once you enter your IP address, you're gonna click on Next. It's gonna give you a nice little confirmation of what's gonna happen. Click on Next again, and you're going to see that when you're creating your new cluster is actually going to add it inside your Active Directory. And that's a cool thing. So I'm gonna show you guys, look at that, boom. How awesome is that? Look at that, how beautiful is that? So I have 01, 02, which was already there at the beginning, right? Because I showed you. And during the time that we created our cluster, it added our cluster within Active Directory. Sweet. That's sweet. That's a good thing. Now, once you do that, you get a nice little summary, right? Once it's done, nice little summary, you are able to click on View Report. And when you view the report, when you click on that button, it gives you a nice little detail of what would happen. It started beginning the configuration, it validated the cluster state, searching domain, etc., etc., etc. Go over the report, make sure you don't have any errors. Lucky I didn't have any errors with him, creating the cluster, so it went with no problem, which was awesome. That's always a good thing, right? Then you go back, hit finish, and you're done. Not really done, not yet. So from here, we are going to open up our cluster, right? Open it up, and the first thing that we need to do is go to nodes. I like to go to nodes just to make sure all the machines that I added inside the cluster, the status is green and it's up. That is always a good thing, right? You want to make sure that all your hosts that you added within your cluster are up and running. There's no problems, there's no errors, right? Now, next thing that we need to do is go to storage, and within storage, I'm going to open it up. Boom, I'm going to click on disk, and within disk, I'm going to click on add disk. And it sees the cluster disk, which is on vhost 2, which is that 100 gigs that we actually configured on the last stream, on the last live stream, or the last server room episode or show, whatever you want to call this. We created an iSCSI storage device using FreeNAS or TrueNAS, which is going to be their new name. We created 100 gigs and we attached it to 01, 02. Remember, 01 and 02 were the two same machines that I used on the last server room, and that's that 100 gigs right there. So we are going to definitely select it. It's going to start creating the disk 1 has been successfully configured. That's also going to start creating the disk resource, and there it goes. It's available. Beautiful. So we are going to select it. When you select it, you're going to see it right here, and I'm going to right click on that available storage or that cluster disk 1. I don't know why I'm doing this. I do weird things when I do live streams and videos with you guys, and I catch myself doing these crazy things. It's just weird. So we're going to right click on that cluster disk 1, and we want to pick add to cluster shared volume. This is what we want to pick. So we're going to click on that. It's going to start doing this thing behind the scenes. Once it's done, you're going to see at the very bottom it's going to change. Okay. Now, next thing that we need to do is we need to right click on our cluster node, and once we right click, we want to go into more action, and within more actions we want to configure cluster quadrant settings. It's going to give you this nice little progress bar, and it's going to show you the configure cluster quadrant wizard. Once you get this, definitely what you're going to do is click on next, right? Let me see if you guys able to see it. Awesome. You're going to click on next. You have a bunch of options. I'm going to leave it as the default, which is use default quadrant configuration. I'm going to click on next, and nice little confirmation, next again, and bam. Right? It's pretty simple. And next thing to do is we are going to go to rows. Within rows, I'm going to zoom in for you guys so you guys can see a little better. So I just basically selected rows, yeah. We're going to right click on that, and we want to go to virtual machines and do a new virtual machine. So this is the same approach that we normally do within Hyper-V Manager. You're creating a virtual machine, but the only difference is that you're going to get an extra dialog box. And within that dialog box now, it allows you to pick where you want to install the virtual machine, right? For me, I'm going to install an 01 because that's my primary machine where I want to house these virtual machines. And if anything happens to 01, 02 will kick in, right? So we're going to select that, press OK, and then you get the normal new virtual machine wizard that we normally see if we are inside Hyper-V Manager. So super easy. I'm gonna do this real fast with you guys because I don't, it's right. It's like click next here. Make sure you give it a name. Make sure you store it somewhere. This is the name that I provided, and the E was actually the drive of the iSCSI drive that we created together. Okay, that E drive is the iSCSI drive. Okay, click on next. Pick your generation, then click on next again. Provide memory to it. Click next. Establish a connection to it. Click next again. Provide size. Give it a size for your virtual hard disk, and then click next. I'm going to click next here because I'm not going to install an operating system, and you get a nice little summary, and then just click finish, and then it's going to start configuring the SCSI controller, and it'll give you a nice little summary, and click finish. Now I caught a couple of warnings on that last shot right here. I did catch a couple of warnings, and the reason why, I don't know why I caught a warning. It said the disk part E is not a path to store in the cluster or to storage that can be added to the cluster, which is okay. I am able to select the cluster share that I added within the cluster manager, the failover cluster manager, but I wanted to use the E drive because the E drive is the iSCSI that I created with you guys. That is what I want to use. Okay. This is our virtual machine. Virtual machine is off, and what I'm going to show you guys is pretty cool. So you are actually able to go to nodes, and within nodes, let's right click on O1, and within O1 we are going to go to more actions, and within more actions we're going to stop the cluster service. So what's going to happen is, theoretically, right, the way that this setup's supposed to work, right, is if O1 goes down, if O1 is where all your virtual machines are at, O1 goes down, O2 has to take over those virtual machines. So when you go back inside roles, bam, what do you see? BTNHD host 01, and the owner is now vhost 02. Isn't that sweet? Now, let's say you go back in, let's say there was a failure hard drive. There was a hard drive that failed on 01. You got it back up and running. You got that machine back up and running. You're able to go back in here, right click on 01, go back to more actions, and do start cluster services. When you start doing that, the server is going to, the status is going to say joining, and eventually it's going to change to up. Now you would think that 02 will release those virtual machines back to 01. No. If you go back into rows, it's still stuck to 02. But you are allowed to right click on this guy. Oops, sorry. Right click on this guy. And then from here, you're able to click on more. And within more, you have two options: live migration, quick migration. We're going to do quick migration. We're going to pick select node. And then boom. Our O1 is there. It's up. We're going to select it. We're going to press O. We're going to click, we're going to click OK. And then once we click OK, the status is going to change, and now the owner for this server is now O1. Sweet, right? Cool. Now I actually turned I mounted an ISO to this virtual machine, and I started running it. As you guys can see right here, it's waiting for me to install the operating system. So what I did, I right clicked on it, went to move, went to live migration. I did select node. It prompted me. I was like, okay, I want, I want 02 to be migrated. I want this machine to be migrated to 02. And the status changed to live migrating. So I started migrating it over while it was up and running. Now this is really cool. I was really impatient because it was taking so long for this to migrate. And it was such a small little machine to migrate over. Eventually, it did migrate over. It kind of sucks when you're doing everything within a virtual environment, because it's like you want that speed like on a real physical machine, but when you do everything in virtual environment, it's like really slow. But it took some time. Eventually, this guy's gonna migrate over to 02, and it takes ownership, and that's it. That's it. That's it, man. That is how we do it. See, today's live stream was super short, straight to the point. And the reason why I'm going straight to the point is because I want to go see my son. I love spending time with you guys. But all right, so we got 24 people on, 9 likes. I appreciate the love. I want to know how you guys are doing, man. Tough times. I'm gonna end the server room. I end the show at 7:30. I'm gonna give 4 more minutes just to talk to you guys, read a couple of your comments, and I just wanna make sure all of you guys are healthy. Your family's okay. I know it's tough times. A lot of us are not at in the office working. We're working at home. We're restricted to do a lot of things. I would like to hear from you guys. Make sure that you guys are healthy and safe, and because your health comes first, right? So I'm gonna read some of the chats so I can say hi to you guys, and I'm definitely gonna kill your names. So I sometimes forget to say my own name, so I apologize for that. So we got Reese. I think Reese said first. Awesome. Always good to be number 1. Marty says, wow, I was just checking out BTNHD channel and saw he's about to go live. Neat. Oh, thank you for joining, Marty. Appreciate the love. Appreciate that you stopped by. Cool. Thank you for letting me know that I'm loud and clear. Andrew from UK. Hey, Andrew from UK. How you doing? How's the health? How's everything? I appreciate the love. I love you guys. Without you guys, BTNHD will not be here. We got Henry. Thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate. Thank you. We got Hugo or Hernandez. Hi, Hernandez. Alexandra. Hello. Love you too. Love you guys. Stefan. Zhang. I know I'm saying some of the names horrible. Each video is cool. It gives you a view from a new person, fresh and new to tech, someone who has experience, has never talking down some bloggers to that. I appreciate that, Andrew. I try to give you guys my point of view. And again, I'm actually testing this stuff out for you guys. I'm not, I'm not getting these articles online and then following the article and then just giving you it. Or like I'm doing these videos and then if I catch any problems, I don't tell you guys. That's not how I roll. If I find an article online and I start playing around with that article, like let's say for example, how to install FreeNAS, and I start installing it and I start getting problems, hey, I'm gonna tell you guys, this is what I got and this is how I fixed it. I don't want to, mask anything or sugarcoat anything for you guys. If I have problems or I receive an error, this is the error, this is what I did, this is how I got it, this is how I fixed the problem, this is the workaround. Because every one of us is always gonna have problems or have that particular error, and it's good to know how to fix it, right? If I get the error and I fix it, and you guys are able to fix it like that, you guys are the superheroes at your 9-to-5 job, right? Try to make you guys heroes. Sandra, wow, Sandra from the Bahamas, awesome. Woo. Trev said, how do you control both simultaneously? Can you explain? Yes, Marty, you're correct. So the way I do my videos as well as my live stream, so rather than doing everything live with you guys, because going live is always iffy, right? So what I do is I take screenshot of every single thing that I do. This PowerPoint deck was about 145 slides. That's a screenshot for everything I do. If I right click, screenshot. Right? If I go to run, screenshot. If I type in something on the run command, screenshot. Screenshot for every single thing I do for you guys. I give you a behind the scenes of what I did. If I receive an error, screenshot. I start doing my research on that error. I fix it. When I'm fixing it within my environment, I start taking screenshots. So when I show you guys I said, okay, I received this error. This is how I fix it. So the PowerPoint decks get really long and really big sometimes. Hope all you guys are doing safe. All right, it's about 7:31. We're going to end it right here. I'm just reading some of the comments. So hopefully all you guys, thank you. Big R, thank you for pronouncing it correctly for me. Quorum. Look, I'm horrible at saying stuff. And if you guys have been with me since the beginning, you should know that already. You should automatically know I mess up words a lot. All right? I'm sorry for that. I have to apologize. I am not the best English speaking person in the world, but I try my best to give you guys the best, and I just have to say I'm sorry, you know. And I do appreciate that you guys try to correct me, and I learn from you guys, and hopefully you guys learn from me. Thank you, Big R. Yeah, failover clustering is all about if you have multiple machines housing, let's say, virtual machines. So you have a Hyper-V. That Hyper-V has a bunch of virtual machines. You have other machines into a cluster. If your primary server that houses all those virtual machines goes down, the second one in the lineup would take over those virtual machines and continue running them until you fix the primary server. That's what a failover clustering is all about. All right, it's 7:32. I am out of here, guys. I appreciate the love. Please stay safe. Be well. If you don't need to be outside, stay indoors. If you have more questions, come back to the live stream. Leave it at the comment section. I will answer your questions. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for joining me. And how do you end it? I always forget how to end this thing. Is it this button? I'm just joking. Love you guys. Peace out. Stay safe. I think it's this button. Oh, I'm done. No, I'm not. I'm out of here. Later, guys.